Hi everyone, my name is Simon Mishevich and I want to talk about property investing in the Northeast, in particular Teesside, funny enough, where I used to work many years ago. Um, I want to talk about return on investment. So if you're looking for return investment, maybe replacement of your income or supplement your income, then Teesside is a great area for you to look into. I'm not the specialist here though, so I'm not a professional property portfolio builder. Alex Bunn is. So without further ado, Alex, would you do a better introduction than I possibly could?
I'll certainly do my best. Yeah, thanks for that, Simon. So I'm Alex. I'm founder of ARB Properties. And we're going to walk through kind of the different areas of Teesside, where it's good to invest, also where it's not so good to invest, where you want to keep away from. Some of the statistics, what's going on in the area, and then we'll kind of delve down into a couple of specific postcodes um, to kind of show where the best sort of investment areas are. So I've got a few slides, to take you through. So yeah, we'll make a start. So this is me, Alex Bunn. My background's actually in hospitality, so I used to run restaurants in Teesside. Um, but we kind of was with me and my wife, but we kind of knew that that was probably not sustainable the way things were going. It's very hard to do. Margins were very small. We weren't making. We were staying afloat, but we weren't making loads of money. And
Just
then
on
so we
that
kind of
point, though,
decided.
on that point, because the media is very sharp to say that buy to let is dead, you shouldn't do investment. And that's really interesting that you should say, well, I've moved from hospitality into buy to let, into an industry that people are saying is dead. So how does
Yeah,
that work?
so with buy to lets, obviously we're not looking to get rich tomorrow, next week, not even next year. Your wealth grows over time. So rather than looking at 6 months time, a year's time, we look at 10 years time. So 10 years down the line, you could have 10 properties, all bringing in £300 to £400 net per month off your rent, and then on top of that, you've got your capital growth. So when we're looking at properties, we are looking in the areas where you've got strong capital growth, but then also strong rental demand. So you're going to always have a tenant in. You're going to have a long term tenant in, and then obviously your property price, your property value is going to increase. And generally, what we'll look at is round about 15% per year combined, which is a lot better than what you're going to get in the banks. Of course, with the businesses, you get good profit, but for kind of a lot of people look at property more for a pension or a better way to use the money, basically, rather than leaving it in the bank because you're going to get what 2-3% in the bank.
Yes, and equally, you could say that about stocks and shares, gilts, bonds. The returns are nowhere near as much.
Yeah,
Not only do
yeah,
you get a better return investment, but you also get capital appreciation, which you don't often get that combination with most types
yeah.
of investments.
I think as well with buy to lets against stocks and shares is with stocks and shares generally you're not going to get £300 a month off them
Hmm.
coming into your bank, which with property you do, and you can
Yeah.
actually you can go to your property and you can touch it if you want to ensure it's actual physical asset.
Yeah.
So that's
And
why we kind of
on that
not saying the
comparison,
stock and shares
Alex,
are bad.
Alex,
Sorry, what was that?
the dividend yield on most shares is about 4 or 5%. So it's the third of what you've mentioned already.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it just makes a lot of sense. If you want your money to work hard, then property is certainly the way to go, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, back to where we were. So we started investing, and then we set up our own portfolio building service. So that's ARB Properties, where we'll uh, help investors, usually as kind of like time poor. So they'll like be business owners, or they'll be maybe a C-suite level, or doctors, something like that, where they're earning good money, but they don't have the time and probably don't really have the knowledge of where to invest. So we take all that on for them, and we'll find the property, we'll get a good price for it, we'll get it through the legals, get it refurbed, get it to a letting agent. So basically, the investor just needs to sign the legal documents, and then we'll literally do everything else.
Yeah.
And then we also take our approach is more client focused. So you'll probably see online if you do research like property sourcing, you'll see a lot of people throwing deals out online saying, oh, I've got this deal, here's the numbers, blah, 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 or, on Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups, stuff like that. And we don't do that. So we we take on a small number of clients that we work with, and then we will basically go through them, what their goals are, and then we'll map out kind of the best approach to get them to their goals, and then we'll go out and we'll do that for them rather than just throwing any old property at them. Because it's just not the way we like to work. We want to deal with build relationships, basically ongoing relationships where they're going to reinvest rather than us going out trying to find people all the time. That's kind of the approach that we take to.
And just to echo that point, Alex, the fact that it is a professional service that you're providing, I think one of the things that people miss is that they see these deals being scattered bits like confetti across social media. But when you see the detail, often those calculations are misconstrued.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, and there's a lot of bad press about property sources, and it's because of kind of people like that, really, where they'll throw numbers out and sell the deal, and then the investors kind of left with a mess. Or the numbers don't stack, and they're not making as much money as they thought, or if they're making any at all. So that's why we took this different approach, because we want to distance ourselves from that. We want to be kind of known as the go-to guys in our area. We'll always do a good job. We're reliable. We work every day, all day, every day. So just at the end of the phone, if anybody needs anything. So yeah, we do our best to be more client focused than it is property focused. If that makes sense.
It does.
That's our approach. So these are kind of the three steps that we kind of build our business on. So education is kind of, sometimes we'll get people coming to us and their expectations will be sky high, thinking that they can get hundreds and thousands of pounds in a couple of years. So we kind of bring them back down to earth and say, look, to do it properly, sustainably, and continue building the wealth, that's not really what happens. They might have done a course. I'm not going to mention any names, but they might have done a course where it's like you put your money in and you get all your money back out and you can go again, which doesn't generally happen. I'm not saying it can't happen. If you get a good deal, if you get a really good deal, it can, but you might be spending a year to find that one deal where you could have 3 or 4 good deals lined up, which would bring in more money than that one deal ever would.
Yeah, and just on that point from personal experience, if you keep on looking for these deals where you get your money back out, I've had one of those deals, if I'm honest, and that was by luck more than judgment.
Yeah.
But you could actually miss so many opportunities just because you're thinking, well, I'm going to wait. And then it doesn't happen. And then you've missed the boat by these other opportunities that have now could have been cash flowing nicely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of why what we explain to people is don't, like shiny penny syndrome, isn't it? It's like because someone's told you can do this, it's not as easy as that. So we prefer to get, obviously the deals we do, they all stack, are all good, they're all aimed towards the criteria we've set with the investor. But we don't over exceed what we think they can do. So we're not going to say every deal you get, you're going to get all out, because it just doesn't happen. And then from that kind of builds on trust. So we're saying to them, because we're kind of lowering the expectations, I think that kind of builds trust, because we can say to them, look, we can't do that. We're not going to spend a year of our time trying to find one deal. It's just a waste of our time. So that's the way we build the trust, is this is what we do. If it's for you, great, we'll go for it. If it's not for you, that's also fine. I'm happy to give out advice. You can ring me, text me, happy to give advice to anyone, but we wouldn't work with everyone just because of them kind of reasons. And then again, wealth building, long-term goals, like I said earlier on, it's more of a 10-year goal or 5-year goal, 5 to 10-year goal is what we aim to help people get to. We're not looking at 1 year down the line or 2 years down the line, because although you're going to get some money, you're going to see the returns. The longer you have it, that's where the real wealth comes, year on year building, compounding interest.
And I guess the other side to that as well, you mentioned years. It's not a 1 year relationship or 2, 5 years. It could be longer. And I guess the point about that is actually it's not just about years. It's the building a portfolio. So it's not just about flipping one deal out on
Yeah,
sourcing platforms that you can go, and that's the end of a relationship. Actually, you're there to get them onto the second, the third, the fourth, I guess.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, our ideal client would be investing a property. Yeah, that'd be ideal for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it saves us having to mark out ourselves everywhere, going to networking events because that's all time and it takes effort and it takes the time away from actually finding the deals and structuring the deals and getting the stuff done. So that's why we much prefer to have less amount of investors. So usually we'll say five at any time. We won't work with more than five at a time, and then keep building that relationship year on year. And then it saves. It's good for the investor. It's good for us. It's like a win-win.
Yeah.
So these are kind of some comparisons that we've got. So you can see from the little graph there, our average price is 150,000. You compare that to the UK average, which is about 280. So it's a massive, massive difference. We look for properties between 60 and about 125 that we find there where you get the best for your money. So you'll get a high yield, and then you'll get good capital growth at that sort of price. You can still get some over that and some a bit below that, just depends on the deal, but that's kind of the ballpark figure that we look at. And then there's a couple of postcodes that we ideally want to focus on, which is TS3, TS4, TS5. They're all in Middlesbrough. So they're all really good high rental demand areas. You've got lots of local amenities, hospitals, loads of schools, transport links around them. And then in Stockton, we've got TS17, TS19, and TS20. Which again, similar types of areas, good rental demand, lots of schools around, hospitals, good transport links again. And in them areas, there's lots of new housing estates going up, which although we don't buy in new housing estates, that pushes the price up of the existing properties that are already there.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Alex, before we came onto this show, we talked about doctors, medics, and the fact that you have got a good hospital. I mean, one of your potential clients could be a doctor, and that doctor needs to kind of just realise they've got an untapped market in many ways, because if they put their house up for rent in a hospital in their staff rooms that they have, it'll be snapped up within minutes, I'm sure.
Yeah, actually, our first client was working in Jamesburg Hospital. So he was from the area, but obviously he's a doctor, so he's busy. He doesn't have time to go out looking at houses and stuff. So yeah, he was one of our first clients, and he's still got that property, and he's reinvesting with us as well. And I think it's only had the void period literally from when we'd done the refurb to then getting it let out. I don't think we've had any other void period in that area.
Wow.
So yeah, he's been making money every month, which is really good. So yeah, they're the kind of areas we look at. The biggest things we look at is yield, tenant demand, and the kind of the capital growth. Not the demand for it, what's the word? Just kind of like a good capital growth area. So we will never invest in the bad areas of town just because it's cheap. Because there's no point. You're gonna be kind of throwing your money away almost unless you decide to go down a HMO student that kind of route. We don't do that. But there is them options in Teesside as well. But we stick to just standard residential. Look for long-term families or professionals who are working in the area. They're the kind of areas we look at. So this is kind of a little graph of where we get our investors from. So you can see majority of them are from down south, which is because property prices down there are huge compared to up here. So our entry level is much, much lower. So you can actually invest up here for around £40,000, rather than 100 or whatever it would be in London or the southeast. So that's kind of one of our pulls. And then on top of that, even though it's cheaper to purchase property, you're generally getting a higher yield as well. So I think in London, the average was something like 4%, something.
I just interesting enough on this point, you mentioned about houses of 125,000. So I was in London this weekend looking for an apartment. I live in Marbella, Spain, but
Okay.
You can't get too much like theatres, entertainment as you can in London. London's great for that. But I looked at Kensington, and the average house, or the flat, not house, I'll scrap that, just a flat, a two-bed
Mhm.
flat, was averaging 650,000. And if you think about it,
Crazy.
these that's the stamp duty land tax alone
Mm.
is the same cost of one of your
Just
properties.
as one house. Yeah. It's crazy when you put it like that. It's mental. I've got a cousin who lives in London. He lives in Shoreditch in one of the high rises. He's just got a one bed flat, him, his missus, and his son. And I think got it valued at something like 400,000
Yeah,
for a one bed flat. It's crazy.
it
It's
is
like
nuts.
yeah, you can get 8 houses for that. Down it over here. Eight
And I think
houses.
that's why anyone listening to the show should realize that if they have been trying to build a property portfolio in London and saying, well, it's taking too long. Well, you
Mm.
probably, and it's understandable. If
Yeah,
you
yeah, because it's
if you work
going to be
with
a lot more
people
difficult.
like, yeah, if you work with people like you, Alex, in Teesside, your property portfolio will be building much quicker, and the returns you get per year can be reinvested into another property
Exactly,
before you
exactly. Yeah.
buy your
So
first one in London.
yeah, like for instance, for that £600,000 one you were on about,
Mm,
that's getting you minimum of probably 10 properties here
yeah.
easily, and that's then um, 10 monthly incomes, 10 capital growth, like 10 return on investments. That's compounding every year.
Yeah.
So that 10 generally probably is going to be better than just getting one in London. Although capital growth will probably be better in London. Your probably monthly income, although it'll be higher, the yield won't be as strong.
But equally, we've not seen that capital growth. If you look at the 10 properties of 15% that you mentioned earlier, London's
Yeah,
not seeing 15%.
yeah, you're not gonna get that. You're not
No.
gonna get that. So that's like the pull of the area, and we are starting to see quite a lot more of um, southern investors and foreign investors as well looking at our area. So I think foreign investors before were all kind of looking at London, Manchester, Liverpool, kind of Birmingham, the bigger cities. Um, but I think now Teesside's kind of come onto the map a little bit, and people are kind of seeing what they can get for the money, and they're all, quite a lot of people are starting to come in now, which is, makes it a bit more competitive, which is fine. But it's pushing property prices up. So obviously, the sooner you get in, the the better it is, the better off you're going to be. Um, and then this is kind of our process. So, like I say, we don't work with everyone. So we'll always do a 15-minute call. So if you sign up to my form, or you drop me a message, or whatever it is, however you get in touch, we'll book in a call, and that's basically to see if we're a good fit to work together. So um, it's not just about goals; it's about if we kind of get on with each other. We do want to work with as many people as can, but if we don't get on generally, then it's probably going to be difficult to build a long-term relationship. So that's what the initial call's for, just a few questions, just a little chat, get to know each other a little bit. From there, we'll then book a Zoom where we will deep dive into your goals, what you're looking for, and then I'll also talk a lot more about the area, where to invest, where you shouldn't invest, all the redevelopment which is going on, which I think now is over coming up on about 3 billion, I think, in the area being spent on. So there's like a lot of housing estates, a lot of refurbishment in the town centres, transports having a big push. So we got 2 billion from HS2 because that didn't go ahead. The northern leg didn't go ahead, so we've been given 2 billion, which is going to be spent on a lot of different areas of our transport infrastructure. So we're getting kind of going to do a little small metro system. So it's going to link all the town because obviously I cover Middlesbrough and Stockton, but there's Hartlepool, there's Redcar, there's Saltburn, there's Darlington, Billingham. There's lots of different areas. So they're all going to get linked up by a little metro system, right? And then they're also building new roads. They're going to build a tunnel under the river as well to sort of increase the flow of traffic. So there's quite a lot going on. And then on top of that, they've got Stockton Riverside's being redeveloped. So we're kind of moving away now. We're probably a little bit behind on some areas really, but we're moving away from the shopping centres now. So town centres used to all be shops. So they're slowly started moving away, and there's a lot more bars, restaurants. It's like kind of bowling alleys and like gaming centres where you can play like like air hockey and ping pong and all that sort of thing.
Well, it makes more sense because you can't buy you can buy tops and jeans online, but you can't really
Yeah,
buy a game of bowling online, can you? It's not the
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So I think we were probably a little bit behind the curve on that, but that's changing now, which is good. And there's a lot of money coming in to build that. There's a lot of big companies coming in. So we've got one called Double 11, which are they're game designers, like video game designers. So they've worked on projects like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, like some of the big games. So they're one of the big employees in our area. Um, and then we've got the uni, which is massive. It's a huge pull for the area. We get quite a lot of. I think it's heavily based on business, so we get quite a lot of like Chinese students coming over, and their parents then buy over here rather than getting student lets because they'll just buy a property over here and rent it out.
Mm.
So yeah, there's quite a lot of redevelopment coming in and coming into the area, which is again good, pushing all the prices up, which I think is why it's jumped 15%. The property price jumped 15% over the last year.
Mm.
So if you didn't buy last year, you missed out, unfortunately, because I don't think it's going to happen again next year, but it'll certainly be up at around 8%, I think, over the next year. Yeah, anyway, back to this, sorry. On the strategy call, yeah, we'll deep dive into everything, work out the goals, and then from there, we will then go out and we'll secure the property that you're looking for, basically. So rather than us find the property online and then saying, oh, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Which I know a lot of people do. We'll already know exactly what you want. So we'll go out, find that property, we'll get it secured, whether it's direct to vendor or with an estate agent. And then we will get through the legal process. So I'll work with a couple of different solicitors, so you don't have to worry about that. We'll get that pushed through for you. I've got a couple of builders I work with as well, and then also individual trades, just depending on what needs doing on the property. So we'll get the refurb done.
And just on that point, Alex, that's a huge benefit of working with you because we all know that solicitors are hit and miss depending on how busy they are,
Yeah.
which partners are in or out. And tradespeople, my gosh, I mean, that's even more of a wishful thinking if to get it right first time.
Well, with solicitors, everyone kind of slags off solicitors a bit, don't they? Because everyone thinks that they're kind of not doing anything in the background, which they are. It's just there's a lot of going backwards and forwards between the solicitors, which
and it's two solicitors, isn't it? Let's be fair about it. Not just one, it's them working with the other one.
Yeah. So then you like if somebody's missed an email and then it just gets delayed and stuff like that. So I'll work with the solicitors on that. I get updates every week off the solicitors. I'll chase and make sure things are moving forward with that. And then kind of similar with the build teams, I'll go to the property multiple times per week just to make sure they're all on track. I have regular phone calls with the builders. Yeah, kind of project managing it, just making sure that what should be getting done is getting done. And like you say, builders and trades since COVID have been a nightmare because they've got that much demand now. They can just take on jobs, and then if they don't want to turn up, they just don't turn up because they've got another job lined up.
Yeah, and they put zeros on the end now, don't they?
Yes, they certainly do. Yeah, they certainly do. Yeah. So the main guy I work with, he's really good. He'll be there. If he says he's going to be there, he'll be there. If I say to him, look, this needs to be done by tomorrow night, he'll be there till 10 o'clock at night, making sure it gets done. Right. So he's a really good guy. And then I've got another one who's similar, but I use him if my other guys, if you can't get me, basically. So I've always got somebody there to make sure they can get in. And then after that, I work with a couple of letting agents as well, both really good. One's quite small and more personal, and one's a bit bigger, not corporate, but a little bit bigger. So it kind of depends on kind of how you want to be. So I discuss that with the investor. So one will be you'll speak to the same person every time, where the other one probably won't speak to the same person, but they're both equally as good. Both do very good jobs doing the same thing. So yeah, I got two of them. And then I'm always on the end of the phone again. So I offer, even though our contract finishes once it's let out, I'm still there on the end of the phone. If you're in London or somewhere down south and something happens to the property, you can't get in touch with anyone. You can just ring me. I'll go over the property and see what's going on, or I'll get in touch with whoever needs to be. Whoever I need to get in touch with, basically, to solve whatever the problem is.
Which is a huge benefit for anyone who's investing, just wants that reassurance.
Yeah. So my goal is to be there a central point of contact, basically. So even after our contract's finished, I'm still happy to, to help out. And if, for whatever reason, something happens and they can't get in touch with someone, they can just give me a ring. I'll sort out whatever needs sorting out. Again, I've kind of gone through this already. What sets us apart is we don't just throw loads of properties at people once they sign up. We don't say, oh, we've got 10 properties secured, first come, first served type thing. We don't do that. The only properties we propose to you will be ones that suit your criteria, and we've gone out and found that property for you. It won't just be a random property that we've come across. Everything's fully transparent. I've got all the compliance in place that needs to be in place. So you get a investor pack once you sign up, which has got all the details in, got all the numbers in. I've got all my contacts in as well. So you kind of get me, but then you get kind of a wide range of contacts in the area should you need anything. So you're not just getting me, again, a whole network of people once you sign up. And then trust and transparency again, which is a big thing with us, is numbers will have everything in. So it'll have my fee in, it'll have obviously it'll have conveyancing in, it'll have any refurb in. Refurb will be from a proper quote from the builder as well. It won't just be a random number that's been looked up thin air. There'll be a big quote from the builder, which will go on the spreadsheet. Anything kind of like your setup fee with the letting agents, that'll go on there. Your monthly fee with the letting agent, your management fee, that'll go on there. We also put a buffer in there, which doesn't go to anyone, but you can kind of put in a little pot. We usually do that about 5%, just in case something big happens, in 2 years' time. Then you've got a nice little pot of money that you've right, I've saved that for this, if the boiler breaks or something like that. So we put all them numbers in. So the returns that we show you are as close to we can estimate as possible. Obviously, you can't say they're going to be bang on because things change and things move. But we do as much due diligence as we can to make sure we get the numbers right. And there's kind of all my details. If anybody wants to get in touch, there's a little link there which we can paste in there.
Yeah, so funny enough, I'll put so anyone watching this, all these details will be in the description box as well. So if you want to just double click on that calendar link, that will be in the description box. So feel free to book some time in with Alex. Alex, it's been really useful. I think, again, when I talk to people about dealing with professionals, it's like no other type of way to get things moving in the right way. If you want an accountant, if you need a solicitor, if you need someone to draw commercial contracts, you go to the right people. Property is no different. You should always work with a property portfolio builder like Alex in Teesside to help you grow your portfolio. Don't do it on your own. There are so many people that get started, do it wrong, and then have this regret. Then turn their back on property, saying property's not right, it's not a very good investment, or maybe you've just done it wrong, and save yourself that time and work with Alex. Would you say that's about right?
Yeah, I was going to say, we do speak to some who have either done it themselves or they kind of haven't done their due diligence on who they're working with, and they've just gone with kind of the first person who's got in touch with them or something like that. And then they get put off for a number of years, and then that again, the longer you wait to start, technically that's a lot of money that you've lost out on. Yeah. So if you're going to get started, we always say, the best time to invest was yesterday. So if you are going to invest now. Yeah. Because the longer you hold on to it, the better it's going to be in the long run. But I would say definitely, if you know what you're doing, fine, do it yourself. But if you're doing it remotely, I would certainly use someone like myself. Or if you're not sure what you're doing, you just know it's a good investment, or you're just kind of thinking about it, you're not too sure, you're doing some research, then get in touch, and I'm happy to talk through anyone who's kind of umming and ahhing about it. It's not like a pressure, it's not a sales call, it's just what do you want to know? I'll tell you.
Perfect. Alex, this has been really worthwhile. I do appreciate it. Like I say, guys, everyone else watching, feel free to get in contact with Alex. The details will be in the description box, so feel free to hit him up there, and I shall see you all in the next video. Alex, thank you ever so much again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.